And we're back. We are now a week past the NFL draft. And what are your thoughts? What are your feelings of what the Ravens have done before I tell you what I think about both what
I
Ravens and
think
Steelers?
that they did the little okey doke that they always do. Man, they always act like we're not sure. Like you said, we might and then the guy that they really wanted, he fell right into that lap. Um, and if it wouldn't have happened, I think the very next pick, Tampa took the guy that I wanted from the U, Bain.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
believe we would have took him. If somebody would have
right.
took all guard, we would have took Bain. So either way, the Ravens were happy,
Right.
but they're very happy, Mill. They are very happy.
They should be. They should be. I have these grades. I don't do pluses or minuses. It's A, B, C, and you're failing at D. I
Hmm.
don't do E, F, or plus minus.
Hmm.
And I have my grades again. I don't know. I didn't grade all 32 NFL teams. I gave Ravens, Steelers, two bad ones. I don't know what they're doing, and four A pluses.
Okay.
And I just said I don't do plus or minus, but here are my A's:
Hmm.
the Dolphins, the
Okay.
Browns,
Yeah.
the Giants, and Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Those four teams helped themselves tremendously. The reason I'm gonna give the edge to Tampa is because to me they're the closest to the playoffs over the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Giants.
Right.
Tampa didn't miss the playoffs by that. I mean, the
Right.
division leader went 8-9 for crying
And
out
they have a quarterback.
loud. Right. Those four teams had, at the end of the draft, they have the 32 teams and they run the scrolling list
Hmm.
and all the players you selected. And I'm looking at what Cleveland got. Oh God, I
Yeah.
get no
Mill,
pleasure.
if they
They
could
helped
figure
themselves.
if they could figure out the quarterback, they would be a problem.
They would absolutely be an issue. And I don't have time for it. I
Hmm.
don't. But
Hmm.
Cleveland had an A plus draft.
Yeah. They did last year.
Tampa, the Dolphins, they did.
Hmm.
They did.
Hmm.
I think this draft Cleveland did this year is a little better than last year. But I see what you're saying. What happened
Hmm.
was drafting both of those quarterbacks and Dylan Gabriel as high as you did, dropping
Right. That was a
to a
waste.
B.
That was a waste.
This year was an A. And they drafted another quarterback, and Taylor Green, his comp is Josh Allen.
Okay.
Highly, highly athletic, very unquarterback like. He needs to be taught everything about
Hmm.
the position.
Hmm.
And I don't know if Cleveland have that person in the room. I don't know if they even employ a Brian Daboll or Shanahan
Right. Right.
or Shane Steichen or the head coach for the
Mia,
Vikings.
once
I don't know
again,
if they even employ that.
this goes back to what I keep saying about Cleveland. For every good move they make one or two bad mistakes.
Stephen,
If I were them, I would have kept Jim Schwartz and I would have waved some money at Todd Monken and say, "We want you to run." See, now this is Monken's first head coaching job. We don't know how he's going to do, and he's got to oversee the whole operation. Whereas if you would have just brought him as offensive coordinator like we did, he can just he would have took this boy, he would take Shador, he would take if they can get anything about out of Deshaun Watson, and he could just focus on the offense. But now he's got to run the special teams. He got to get a good defensive coordinator. Cleveland still is much talent as they're acquiring. At the end of the day, don't be
they still
surprised
don't.
if they still finish in last place.
Right. And I'll be honest with you, that's pathetic. Because this draft, their first five picks, four of them were on my board. Now, of course, the Steelers weren't going to get off. But I'm looking at these guys, and I'm like, man, he's good. Second round, Cleveland get. I'm like, third round, the Browns select. I'm dying over here because I'm looking at him. I'm like, these. So they may not know what they're doing.
Hmm.
However, the players are still going to be in the room. They're
Hmm.
still going to make plays. I still expect the Ravens and Steelers to dominate.
Hmm.
But to see this draft, which to me is how you build a team, it is. I'm gonna be over it in a month.
Mm-hmm.
But a week past the draft, and I know those guys are in training camp. I don't like it. So that's my four
Okay.
A's, A
Mm-hmm.
drafts: Dolphins, Bucks, Browns, and Giants. Your boy Harbaugh had a
Mm-hmm.
good
Mm-hmm.
draft, and he
Mm-hmm.
did. I know you're old Raven. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
call it how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He had an A draft.
Mm-hmm.
With 5 and 10, you think he shouldn't have?
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
my B's are our teams.
Okay.
I think Ray and look, the Ravens and Steelers, when playoff teams have a B draft, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Right.
Um, y'all got in the fourth round a guy I talked to y'all about like a month or two ago from
Okay.
Indiana, Elijah
Oh
Surratt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Remember,
receiver. Mm-hmm.
y'all, I saw y'all got him. I don't have no hair as you can see, but I'm pulling out what little bit I can. The Ravens select Elijah Surratt.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of a migraine with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I gave y'all a B, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
His comp to me is Hines Ward.
Oh, okay.
The only difference is you
He a little
can't
taller.
the type of receiver he is.
Oh, okay.
Great blocker,
Mm-hmm.
go over the middle, edgy,
Mm-hmm.
good hands, good
Mm-hmm.
route runner, do
Mm-hmm.
what he got to do, leadership. You
Mm-hmm.
guys actually, I'm more of a fan of Surratt than the guy y'all got ahead of him, Jacoby Lane.
Okay.
I think Surratt is better than Jacoby Lane.
Okay.
Now,
All
here's the
right.
difference. When I say better, who I would take on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Let me corroborate. Let me explain. Jacoby Lane is his comp is Odell Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna make a one-handed catch. The cornerback's gonna fall down. He's gonna run in for a 60-yard touchdown. Rape says,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, oh man, we got Jacoby Lane."
Right.
But on a 12-yard play drive,
Mm-hmm.
Surratt's gonna land a key block to spring
Mm-hmm.
Henry for
Mm-hmm.
a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Lane ain't blocking nobody.
Right. Right. Right.
I want the football player.
Football
The
player.
spectacular play is good to have. It is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're telling me people think I'm crazy for taking Hines Ward over Odell Beckham, I don't think I'm
Right.
crazy at all.
Right. Right.
The name of the
Odell
game is
hasn't.
called
Odell
football.
never played in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
He's
I think Hines Ward
he
has yeah. Go ahead.
he's his own biggest fan. Um. Uh. Um. Look. So what about now? What about that drama with Makai Lemon?
What's wrong?
I'm hearing unless you're going to tell me something different. Y'all were gonna draft Makai. As a matter of
Oh
fact, y'all was on the phone with Makai Lemon.
yeah, that. Oh, I thought you would move past that. I thought something happened in the last
Mm-mm,
week.
no, no.
Well, it was an embarrassing moment for the
Mm-hmm,
Steeler Nation. It
mm-hmm,
was. Um, you you know I listen to a lot of podcasts. After the draft, on Monday morning, I'm listening. Oh, they were coming for Omar Khan's
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
throat. It
mm-hmm.
was and I think what made it look worse is the draft was in their hometown.
Yeah, yeah.
That's doubly worse. He's
Mm-hmm,
on the phone with a player you don't have yet.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Cardinal rules, cardinal sin.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the Eagles jumped up ahead.
Yeah. Now
And Dallas made a transaction with that division.
with
That's
a
another
division. Now
what's going
here's
on
what I want to
there.
say to you. Here's what I want to say to you.
Talk to me.
I think that even though Omar Khan has been making good moves, he's still somewhat of an inexperienced general
This is
manager.
just his fourth draft.
And
Hmm.
Howie Roseman, Philly, we know what he is.
Oh, he's been
He's
there.
very, he's one of the
And be
big.
honest with you, this may be Omar Khan's fourth draft as the GM, but he's been in that organization in the war room since
I'm glad
'01.
I'm glad you said that because that leads
He's
me
been
to
in
the
the
next.
organization for over 20 years.
I'm glad you said that because that leads me to the next thing I was going to say about him. Your boy Mark Madden.
Oh boy, you
He
always
says
go
he
there.
he doesn't he doesn't hate Omar Khan. He just feels like he's a numbers guy. He's a bean counter. He's not a real GM.
Hmm.
What you think about that?
Omar Khan is a cap specialist. That was his
Yeah.
reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all these comp picks we get.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at how far under the salary cap. And I'm be honest with you, even after we get our franchise quarterback, we still gonna have good cap numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna find a way to
Yeah.
finagle it,
Yeah.
move it around. He is. He is. That's what he does. However, as much as I hate to agree with Matt, there's some truth to what he says.
Mm-hmm.
However, in Omar Khan's defense, I respect the man that realizes he's not good at something. I think he defers to the guy we got from Philly's organization.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I can't remember. He's the assistant general manager.
Okay.
He's really the one on these offensive line and defensive line acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
He's really the one pulling the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Omar Khan may be the GM, but this draft that happened here,
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, these leagues move on quick. This league, this draft, what the Steelers did, looks nothing like what Tomlin would have done.
Right. Right.
Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I know three of those players they drafted were McCarthy guys.
Okay. Right. Right.
McCarthy wanted them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know that definitively, and I'm underestimating by saying three.
Mm-hmm.
Could be four or five, but I'm gonna go ahead and say three. They drafted one that was a Patrick Graham guy, a new DC.
Right.
He wanted, specifically wanted this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and they got him way early. Than I'm like, they got him, so they going for their guys
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing what my previous head coach would have done and just control the room.
Mm-hmm.
Omar Khan deferred to his coordinators
So
and his head coach,
that being said, since you all was gonna go after, y'all was about to draft Makai Lemon,
Makai
that
Lemon.
means McCarthy wanted Makai Lemon, probably.
I think so.
Mm.
I think McCarthy wanted Makai Lemon. Um, Here are the picks that I think are McCarthy's picks. I think the first pick was Omar and his AGM, assistant general manager, Ahinichor. You messed up. You embarrassed yourself on the phone with a player that wasn't yours,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody with more experience jumped ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Fine,
Mm-hmm.
fine. You got to move on. You got to turn the page quick in this league.
Live and learn. Yeah.
Live and learn. You know, he made up for it in day two,
Mm-hmm.
moving up six spots from the Saints from 53 to 47 to get Jeremy Bernard.
What's his name again?
GER. It's not
Oh,
Jeremy.
right.
GERMIE, like
Mm-hmm.
Germ
Mm-hmm. Right.
IE.
Right. Right.
Jeremy Bernard. Hey, I love the pick.
You like that pick?
It looked bad on day one, especially on the world stage in your
Mm-hmm.
hometown.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it. If this draft and they did that in Bmore or Vegas
Yeah. Yeah.
or New Orleans or
Mm-hmm.
what the state, but it's at your home, it
Mm-hmm.
made it look worse.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell me, Emil, check this out. Before the draft starts, your first two picks are going to be a Henichor and Jeremy Bernard. I'm signing up for it instantly.
Really?
Absolutely. Ab- They had this survey. Now, hold that thought, Ed. Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a Steelers general manager, would you go wide receiver, offensive line, wide receiver first, for offensive line second, or offensive line first and wide receiver second? I said offensive line first and wide receiver second,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
is what they did. About 53% of the fans that called in of a poll that had about 3,000 votes, so they would go wide receiver first. And I don't
Yeah,
agree
that's
with
what
that.
fans. Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that, Ed.
Right. Right.
I don't. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I don't. Now go ahead. What would you hit me with?
No, you're right. I mean, Cincinnati's got wide receivers, and they've missed the playoffs the last 3 years. You know,
And
so
not only that,
so
Burrow gets hammered every
yeah,
year.
yeah. But what I was about to say was,
Uh-huh.
now I'm hearing some of these experts. They say that this receiver that y'all got, there were 6 receivers. They said either 5 or 6
Five or
in the draft
six.
better than him. And you all took him in the second round.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
saying that 6 of them are better than him.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to myself, either this is a real deep receiver class, which you said it is,
I did. I did. I said that I think some one of the 32 NFL teams is going to get an everyday starter, not Hall of Famer, not All Pro, not Pro Bowler,
Mhm.
an everyday starter on day three. And I watched it, and it's going to happen.
Mhm.
It's a couple teams out there that are going to get an everyday starter. I don't even care about X, Y, slot, Z,
Mhm.
halfback. We don't even say halfback anymore.
Right.
It's going to
Right.
get a good offensive player on day three on Saturday, and it's going to
Mhm.
happen.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it's
Mhm.
going to happen. But Madden is right. Omar Khan is there to crunch the numbers,
Mhm.
and he's good at the trenches. You know, receiver isn't his strongest.
Yeah, that's amazing how you all went from the best receiver drafting team in the league now
Hey,
to
Bill
now
Nunn,
picking up y'all two best receivers right now. Y'all didn't draft either one of
free agency, and I got to get used to that, man.
them.
My entire life, Donahue and Colbert, that's almost 40 years, and before them, some guy named Bill Nunn drafted Stallworth and Small.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
just like the entire organization drafted good receivers. Now we got to get them a free agency,
Mhm.
but they recovered well from the embarrassment. And I don't care what Omar Khan says in his post game press conference,
Mhm.
post game, post draft.
Mhm.
We really like Ahana Choa. Of course you do. It's going to be great.
Yeah, what are you supposed
That
to say?
that wasn't your first pick, though,
It
homie.
wasn't his first choice. Mhm.
It wasn't your first choice. And the way it went down, it was just embarrassing.
Yeah, yeah.
He on the phone with Makai Lemon, and somebody else walked over to him. You're going to the Eagles. He like, I'm going to the Steelers. No, you're going to Philly. I'm like, I've all these drafts we watch, and I've never
See,
seen that before.
see, the mistake that Khan made. He saw that the Cowboys were next and knew that they didn't need a receiver. That's
He
that's where
assumed.
and
He assumed.
that's actually kind of understandable. But
I guess, should have called Dallas and said, if anybody jumps for you to get this
hmm
next
hmm
pick,
will match or exceed any
call.
offer. Hmm
Dallas gave up two fourths
hmm
this year, next, I believe.
Okay.
Steelers had three thirds. You can give up a third this year and one on
hmm
fourths and get them
hmm
if you
hmm
wanted them that bad. And I'm gonna be
hmm
honest with you. We're a week past day one of the draft.
hmm
After everybody, yeah, illumination. How about that? Gets to stew over the draft and walk themselves off the ledge.
hmm
I really like this Jeremy Bernard guy. I think
Okay.
personally, he's more of a steal than a McCollum.
Okay.
I think the Steelers were going to draft McCollum purely over public pressure.
You think so? Man, I think he's going to be pretty good. I know. I
Oh,
don't know.
who told you that the
I kn-
NFL laws and rules were he was gonna light this league up? I told you
yeah,
that 2 weeks ago. Makai
yeah,
Lerman's gonna
yeah,
light it up.
yeah.
The issue is he went to a team that got Saquon. They don't throw the ball a lot.
Mhm,
They're gonna give the ball to Saquon. He's the
mhm.
focal point of the offense. AJ Brown won't be there at season start. I don't think. I
Yeah,
don't think.
it's starting to look that way.
Him and that IU, well, they some disgruntled cats. They steady complaining. 49ers did do Ayuk a little dirty. A little dirty, from my
Well, they.
understanding.
I mean, but he hurting himself at this point. Nobody can even find him. They trying to find him, and nobody knows where he is.
Hey, he
Him
went and
between
Rogers
between between
ayahuasca
him
camp.
between him, Deontay
Uh-huh.
Johnson, these guys are throwing money away. But you know what? I don't even.
Stupid,
It's
stupid,
that's up to them. So I.
stupid. But yeah, um, I love the pick. I love Makai Lemon. I think he's going to rip this league. But a team that throws the ball a lot like Detroit, I think he would have did better in.
Well, you know
Philly,
what?
going to, uh huh. What's
Um,
up?
Devontae Smith still puts up decent numbers. AJ is complaining that, I mean, I understand that Jalen Hurts is not the kind of quarterback to keep AJ Brown happy. Matt Stafford would give AJ plenty of work to do. AJ would be very
We
happy
know the throwing team.
playing
We
for
know
Matt
who they
Stafford.
are.
And the Rams still
Yeah,
they still run the ball, but
yeah,
it's just that AJ
yeah.
would
Devontae
not
and
be able
Puka.
to complain.
Right.
Just like even Antonio Brown used to complain, even though Roethlisberger would give him 11, 12 targets
And
a game.
I've
And this
seen
clown.
AB complain when we were winning. It's ridiculous. Steelers
So
be up.
that's really the issue. That's why
Hmm.
now Philly, I'm sure if I know Philly, they're going to get a first round pick for AJ Brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If the Patriots try to lowball them, they will find out what kind of organization Philly is. Do y'all want
Well,
this
I'm gonna be
man?
honest with you, Ed. If I was an organization, I wouldn't give a first for AJ. A second, I would give a second. I
Well,
wouldn't give up first.
you know why the
I wouldn't,
Patriots you know why the Patriots are going to do it?
because they need
They
him
were
really,
just in
really
the
bad.
Super Bowl. Say it again.
They need him really, really bad.
Thank you. They was just in the Super Bowl. They don't
Hmm.
have Stephon Diggs anymore.
Nope.
And name their two starting receivers for me right now today.
Kevin Boutte, and I don't know the name of the other guy.
My point exactly. You just made my
Boutte's
point for me.
good. He burnt your boy in the playoffs,
You just
man.
made my point for me.
I got you. Demario Douglas. There you go.
Congratulations. After
I know.
five
I need a
minutes.
life. Look, Ed, I need a life. All right, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah.
So they need him, and Philly knows that. Philly is not one of them organizations.
But at
Don't ever
first, for if all right, you a GM and you New England's GM, you would do it first for AJ Brown.
in their situation, I might. He's still not old. Drake May, he might. Josh McDaniel, Drake May, and AJ Brown. That might work. He should get plenty of touches
Yeah, they're
with
not
Drake
gonna have
May.
the head coach.
he he should get plenty of action, you know,
Right, right, right,
there.
right, right.
But certain quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts would get along with Hines Ward, two guys who just want to win.
Hines wants to win.
Yeah.
He wants.
But AJ, no, Antonio Brown, those kind of receivers, mm-mm,
Right,
no.
right, right, right. Yeah, most
I
definitely.
can understand why Philly is having the problem they're having with him. I get it.
Well, I tell you, he's so talented. These guys and that attitude
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
crazy, man. It's absolutely nuts.
So now
Um,
look, what can you tell me about the guy we got in the second round? Um, Zion Young.
good pick. He's a Raven.
Hmm.
He's a Raven. Absolutely, he's a Raven. I
Now
didn't know
let
he was going to go that high, but I'm not surprised y'all
yeah,
got him.
no, you know what? This is what Rashad been saying. We starting to pick a little bit sometimes according to need.
Oh, I know you. That
He might
grinds your
yeah
gears, don't it?
yeah
Ed?
he might not
Right.
be from what I'm hearing. What did we pick? 40 something in the second round.
Second, 42nd or 46, something like that.
He's 46, I think. He's probably wasn't the 46th best player in the nation. You understand what I'm
And what
saying to you?
position does he play?
Edge, but he's a he's an edge setter. He's not a he's not a true. Now, this
He
is what I
doesn't get
want.
upfield, but he'll
No.
set that.
He sets
All
the
right.
edge. This
All right, Ed, you got Hendrickson on the other side.
yeah,
Ed, what's going
okay, I'm
on?
glad you said that. They sent a little they sent a little message to Trey Hendrickson. I think so. Since you're not that great at setting the edge, we're going to go get somebody who can set the edge. See, we've talked
Okay.
about this before. Trey
Hmm.
Hendrickson he's Dwight Freeney. He's Elvis Dumervil. He's not
That's
Bruce
pretty
Smith.
much
He's
right.
not uh
The boy
TJ.
from
He's
Denver.
not see those guys get
What's his name? The one with the big thick glasses. When the
Von Miller.
he, Von Miller. That was my dude right
Right.
Von could
Look,
do both.
that's all
Yeah.
fine and dandy. But
Hmm.
some guys, Mill, get 100 career sacks like TJ and
Mm-hmm.
still set the edge.
Set the edge.
Suggs, for God's sakes, had got 130 career sacks, and he was
And
you.
60 of them was against Ben. Yeah.
You let somebody try to turn that corner on his side and watch what
Mm-mm.
happened to that running back.
Y'all haven't had anywhere near close to Suggs since he
Yeah,
retired.
yeah. So,
And I'll
so
be
I'm
honest with you, when he retired, it looked like he could still play a little bit.
so I'm real impressed with the guys who can rush the quarterback and still set the edge. So Hendrickson, he's I think the Ravens, by drafting this guy, they sent a little message to him. I think so.
Interesting. Well, he look. It looks like both Ravens and Steelers went for players higher than the draft board.
Hmm.
ESPN, NFL Network. Everybody has their rankings.
Hmm.
Steelers went high for some players. I just don't agree with.
Hmm.
That's why I gave him a B and not an A.
Hmm.
Give you a perfect example. Patrick Graham, our new defensive coordinator.
Hmm.
First of all, I love the way coaches think. It's in all sports.
Hmm.
That's why you'll get a player who's been in trouble with the law, some domestic issues, drugs, gun charges, and been on 14. Because all coaches think they can change him.
Right.
Oh, he did this?
Mhm.
Well, domestic, did she start it? You know, gun charge?
Mhm.
Honestly, professional athletes got to protect themselves. And sometimes they don't always keep up when you can legally conceal and when you can't.
Mhm.
And
Right.
if you
Right.
get pulled over and
Mhm.
you say, "Yes, officer, I got off the flight,"
Mhm.
even in an Uber,
Mhm.
you got
Mhm.
a gun on you and you New York and I'm in Florida and I got to
Right.
conceal,
Right.
well, they
Right.
don't work in New York.
Right. Right. Right.
So when I see an athlete get a
I
gun charge,
I get
that's
it.
not an indictment.
Right. Mhm.
So I just look at that as Patrick Graham wanted this player. They got in the fourth round. Our
Mhm.
first of two picks in the fourth round.
Mhm.
And he's a good quarterback. SEC, Georgia.
What's his name? What's his name?
Oh, I forgot it. I
You don't,
forgot.
mhm.
I have to pull it up.
Mhm.
I'll pull it
Well,
up right now. But
Georgia SEC. You know what kind of receivers he's going against.
yeah, I do. But not he would have been available past the fourth round.
Oh, is he the one who I texted you when I was asking you, and you said you didn't know much about
Dalen
the guy?
Everett.
Mm-hmm.
Dalen Everett. That's his
Mm-hmm.
name.
Mm-hmm.
They got him in the first of our four picks.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
So you didn't agree
listen,
with that one.
no.
So
And there's
you'll
another one they did that I disagreed even more.
okay.
Now listen, well I tell you, Tomlin was on the stage for 19 drafts. They moved off of that method and path quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
McCarthy has not been in the room that long, Ed.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Khan had to get a chemistry and assist the AGM had to get a chemistry quick.
Mm-hmm.
He got hired, and less than 6 months later, the draft is happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Way less than 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So this draft has McCarthy's name written all over.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Mm-hmm.
I won't use the word reeks because I like some of the players they got.
Mm-hmm.
So reeks stink.
Mm-hmm.
Everett in the fourth was a Patrick Graham pick.
Okay.
Patrick Graham said,
Mm-hmm.
I want this guy here. I want
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks he can turn him into an all pro. I wish him great success with it. But if he's
Hey.
going to be there at 5, and the one that I dislike more than that one, and the only reason I didn't give it a total dub is because McCarthy's in the room, and that's getting Drew Allen in your first of three third round picks.
Right. Y'all,
It's a
y'all,
caveat.
y'all had to get him because somebody was going to. Somebody was going to.
See,
And
go ahead.
and in that round too, somebody was going to take him right in the third.
I've had the liberty, because I don't have a life, of looking at the Steelers' first third round pick to their second third round pick. It was nine slots.
Mm-hmm.
Of those nine, they all got franchise quarterbacks. Bucks was ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville got Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the other six were,
Mm-hmm.
but two of those other six were the Colts,
Mm-hmm.
and I said the Bucks were Baker. Daniel Jones tore his ACL
Yeah.
late in the
Yeah.
year last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts could have got him, and Shane Steichen is a quarterback guru.
They would have. They would have took him.
And so now, and the other one, Baker's shoulder that was hurting out last year. It
Mm-hmm.
seemed now this is I think his second year in a row with a busted shoulder. If
Mm-hmm.
it's not healing in the off season,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to heal during the season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think the Bucks could have took him.
Mm.
So once I really did some research and walked myself off the ledge
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I'm looking at the players that were available when they drafted Drew.
Mm-hmm. See, yeah, I hear
Oh
what you're
my
saying. See, you
God.
know what, man? The only problem is
Uh huh.
him and Will Howard. Y'all are not going to be able to find out. Okay, you know how next year looks real good as far as quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all not going to be able to find out if these guys can play because if Aaron Rodgers comes back again.
Well, here's that's funny you said that. I'm a hold that thought there because my thinking to why they got Allen is this. I've had a couple days to think about this. And you know how dangerous that is, and I got days to think about it. If this was Tomlin still head coaching
Mm-hmm.
and in the war room making all the decisions, and they got you, Allen, I wouldn't have watched the rest of the game. I would have just turned the television on.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it's digestible is because it's McCarthy,
Mm-hmm.
who does have a rapport with quarterbacks,
Mm-hmm.
who does have a rapport with teaching and putting points on the board. I think the Steelers are looking to score more points
Mm-hmm.
this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason I think Allen was they did it is because they thought the Colts or the Bucks would get him, especially the Colts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if the Steelers can sit him behind Rodgers, he won't have to play.
Yeah.
That's part of the design.
Mm-hmm.
Let him learn, throw him out there, and we can use our first rounder on something else other than a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Which a third of the league looks like they're going to use their first round pick on. Because I saw seven that are going to be starting for next season. So that's my only reconciliation for that. If this
Yeah.
was
If
Tomlin
if the
and they
Colts
got, yeah,
if the Colts would have took him, Shane Steichen, he was making Daniel Jones look like an
like an
MVP.
all, and before he
So
busted his ACL, he
with,
was
with all due
balling.
respect to Daniel Jones, man, good. I was like,
Hey,
these
it's
guys, these
ridiculous.
these coaches, they know something. Your Ben Johnsons and all, they you
But
know,
then he gets into these guys got psychological degrees. They got psychology degrees.
yeah, they know
And they
something.
get your head. Phil Jackson used to get in all his guys' head.
Mm-hmm.
You got to
Mm-hmm.
get up here. You got to get up here. So they got Drew Allen in the third round. The guy has the physical tools. He has what you can't coach. And they're going to let McCarthy do his work. Rogers will be back. I know it's been some, but I haven't really paid attention to this Rogers Steelers thing. Because to be honest with you, they did the same thing last year. This is what Rogers does.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his own time right
Mm-hmm.
now. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think he cares that I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, this man probably on a 3 month honeymoon,
Mm-hmm.
spending his money, and I heard he has
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But by training camp, this funny contract. Did you hear about this funny contract? Steelers.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
It hasn't happened much.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the Chargers did this to J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
It's not a franchise. I think the Steelers just did this
They,
to protect themselves.
yeah, they could get a comp pick if he signed somewhere else.
And you know, Quan is a comp king.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's the comp king.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be by the time training camp starts, which is mid to late July.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3 months from now, Eric.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Rogers don't report to June 1st or worse yet, July 1st.
Hmm.
He just, it's his word apparently.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, I tell you what. Now it looks like neither one of them is going to join us. So look,
Okay, what you got, Eddie?
I wanted to get into this real quick.
Okay.
Actually, I'm only going to be able to do half of this. I'll
Okay, it's that expensive.
I'll save the other half for
Man, the
when they
Knicks are
join us.
killing the Hawks by 30.
Are you serious?
It's 45-15 in the second
Oh,
quarter.
oh, good, good. And
Hawks, Hawks,
they in Atlanta, right?
it's in Atlanta. State
Yeah,
Farm Arena.
I think Mike Brown figured out a couple of things, made some adjustments. They, maybe they hitting their stride.
Atlanta doing all one on one.
They shouldn't have messed around with them in the first place. They should have that series should be over. You know,
Right.
an extra game means a greater chance that somebody gets hurt. You know, it seems like Jalen Brunson is
Lakers
always
didn't finish off
getting a
Houston
little,
yesterday
yeah,
in
a
LA.
little banged up. And like I told you, I'm pulling for y'all tomorrow.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know
I'm,
what?
I'm definitely checking that out.
Maybe this what I'm going to do doesn't apply as much now because it looks like this draft a lot of players took who they felt was the best player available. Like now some teams didn't. Um, I don't think Tennessee did, and I know the Rams didn't. Um,
That was
Tennessee.
my failing grades, Ed.
Hmm.
I don't know. I said the four I thought had A's. The two I thought were B's, which I thought were great from Ravens and Steelers.
Hmm.
But I don't know what the 49ers and the Rams were doing.
Yeah,
Now, I know the
yeah.
Rams don't have a lot of draft picks because they don't care about draft picks. But whatever you have, I'm looking at these players. I don't know what the 49ers and Rams
Here,
for. I'll just
here's
leave that. Failing grades.
here's what I think about the Rams. Sean McVay was not on board with this.
He
This
didn't want Ty
they went
Simpson.
over his head. And I'm gonna tell you something else. They better be careful.
Showman
I could
Baker
see
Jet.
I could see him and Matt Stafford looking at each other and saying, "Okay, we're going to do this one more year, and we both going to bounce." And they will be rebuilding.
In Arizona. Arizona could go to take both.
No, I could see Sean McVay doing the same
Where?
thing Mike Tomlin did for a year.
Just
Um,
to leave football?
yeah. He
Well,
look.
Stafford is old, and I don't know if another team gonna.
No, he'll retire. He already been playing, toying with the idea of retiring.
Right, right.
He'll retire. McVay will go to TV, and they'll be in the basement. And in my opinion, the Rams need McVay way more than he
Then he
needs
needs
them.
to.
So they
I
better
hear
be
you.
careful with doing
I hear
stuff
you.
like this. But
I
but
appreciate
anyway,
that.
them we all know Ty Simpson is not the 13th best player in this
No.
draft. So I'm not even going to talk about that. And Tennessee, they wanted Cornell Tate. Okay, fine. You got a good player, but I don't even watch college. And I can tell you he wasn't the fourth best player in this draft. I'm pretty sure I can say that with
Cornell
confidence.
Tate.
The fourth best player.
Okay.
But everybody else looked like they took who they felt was the best player. But look, let me go back a little bit. These are just to drive home the point about you should take the best player.
Uh-huh.
Let's go back to '07 for a second.
Oh
Top,
Lord,
yeah,
don't do that to
top
my brain.
uh,
Go
top
ahead.
overall pick, Jamarcus Russell. That was the
Whew.
Raiders, and Al Davis was still alive. So enough said. Now the next two picks they made sense. Detroit took Megatron. Cleveland took Joe Thomas, two Hall of Famers.
Okay.
Number four, Tampa took Gaines Adams.
Who's he?
Okay, my point exactly.
What position?
Uh, defensive end. Number
Okay.
number
Do you
six.
give a team a pass for trying to strengthen their trenches?
I give a team a fail for not picking who they could have got at number seven, Adrian Peterson. Now remember when I told you about certain positions get disrespected? Running back is one of those positions. Okay. Now let's move on from that one. Let's go to 2011. Number 8. It was some quarterbacks taken in this draft. At number 8, Tennessee took Jake Locker. Remember him?
I
All right.
remember he was trash. I
Now at
always,
the
I didn't
very
like him.
next pick, they could have had Tyron Smith, a real good offensive lineman for the Cowboys.
Okay, I remember
Number
him.
number 10, Jacksonville took Blaine Gabbert.
Oh my God, I forgot about him.
The very next pick, Neil, the
Uh
very
huh.
next pick, they could have had J.J. Watt. Okay. The next pick, at number 12, Minnesota took Christian Ponder. You can't make
Florida
this up.
State, Florida State. I remember
Now,
him.
now at a couple of picks later, at 15, they could have took Mike Pouncey. And
Dolphins.
at number 31, I think you're familiar with the guy that all of them could have had, Cam Hayward. Okay. All right. So now
And
you
what year
see
was that?
2011,
Seven? 2011.
22011.
Hit 201.
All
Okay,
right.
yeah, that's the way
Now,
they got came.
let's go to 2012. Number 6, the Cowboys took Morris Claiborne. We need a corner. It doesn't
Cornerback.
matter. It doesn't matter if he can play or not. We just need a corner. Number 7, Tampa took
I hear you.
Mark Barron. Both of them
Safety.
at number 9 could have had Luke Kuechly. Remember when I
Carolina.
told you certain positions get disrespected?
Yeah,
Inside linebacker is one of those
yeah.
positions.
I hear you.
I'm just gonna do a couple more. All right,
I got you.
bear with me.
Go ahead, do
Bear
your
with me.
list. Do your list, bro.
2014, Jacksonville did it again. Number 3 overall, they took Blake Bortles. Number 3 overall, Meal, they took Blake Bortles. Do you know why they took him? Because we need a quarterback.
Hey, Blake Bortles beat my Steelers in a playoff game.
He didn't
No,
beat
I'm
y'all.
joking. I know.
That
Prince
awesome
Emily or
that
whoever
awesome
was on it.
roster that they had
Yeah,
beat
yeah,
y'all.
I got you. I got you.
Number 5, they could have took Khalil Mack.
Ooh.
A couple of picks later, they could have took Mike Evans.
Mm.
Several picks after that, Neil, they could have took Aaron Donald.
Oh,
And then
damn.
the rest of that draft, there were some guys who were not necessarily Hall of Famers, but good players.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Lewan, the left tackle for the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
OBJ. At
Oh, I
number
got you. Okay.
15, you might be familiar with this excellent player, Ryan Shazier. They could have had him. They could have took at number 16, Zach Martin, excellent guard for the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And our boy, middle linebacker, not a Hall of Famer, but a good player, C.J. Mosley. Once again,
Okay.
certain
Okay.
players, certain positions get
I got you.
disrespected.
I
Inside
got you.
linebacker.
I got you.
2016. Okay, now maybe this is not a good example because these teams were smart.
Okay.
The Chargers took Joey Bosa, number 3.
That sounds good.
The Cowboys were smart. Number 4, they took Zeke. They took Ezekiel Elliott. They didn't
Ezekiel
care
Elliott.
about positional value. They
Position of every.
knew
Zeke was the best
he
player.
was a
He
beast.
was one of the best players
He
in
was
that
one of the
draft.
best
No
players,
question.
regardless of the fact that he's a running
No
back. It
question.
doesn't matter. You
And
take
he showed up. He
and
showed
he
up too.
showed up.
No
He
question.
during that time, he probably was the best running back. Him and Le'Veon, maybe was the best running backs in the league.
Mid 2010s, them boys are balling. No
Um,
question.
Number 5, Jacksonville wised up. They took Jalen Ramsey. Oh,
Mm.
and number 6, we took Ronnie Stanley. So maybe that draft is not a good example because those teams hit,
They
on
hit. I got
excellent
you.
players.
Well, excellent
This
player. I
this is
got
the last one I'm gonna give you. On this sheet, I'll save the other sheet for
you.
Percy and
Next
Charlotte.
week.
This is the last one I'm gonna give you because we
I
really
got
don't
you.
have all night.
I got you.
2017, the Bears took Mitch Trubisky, number 2 overall. See, we
Man,
can laugh
they
now.
could
We
have
can look
got.
back and laugh at this now,
You know
man.
what burns me up about a lot of these? Look, I understand. I'm gonna give you two examples of a good and a bad, and you can't go back in the past. Jerry Jones, the year he drafted Taco Charlton,
Mhm.
he picked 29th. 2017. The Steelers picked 30th in 2017. They drafted TJ Watt. Jerry Jones maybe occasionally will mention, and he said publicly, "Yeah, I was looking at TJ. I'm trying to mimic his voice. Yeah, that would have been a really good acquisition."
Actually,
And he
actually,
admitted,
it's funny you mentioned that. That is in this last one that I'm about to give
but
you. But go
now,
ahead.
but now, I'm not going to hold that against the Cowboys. I'm gonna tell you why. TJ had an injury-riddled college career.
Okay.
He, they call them zippers. When you get ACL surgery, it looks like there's a zipper on your knee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Freshman year, he busted one knee. Sophomore year, he busted the other one. And now his junior year was his only good year.
All right.
So the Steelers took a really big flyer. It wasn't. I
Okay.
know we can look at him now, but
Mm-hmm.
TJ busted each knee in his college, and
Mm-hmm.
that dropped him. Steelers took a chance, and it happened to have worked out. Jerry Jones was saying in an interview years ago, "Yeah, I should have drafted." You're saying you should have, but the reason you didn't is because you thought he couldn't stay healthy, and he's
Mm-hmm.
missed several games in his professional career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some due to other people, some due to just playing
Well,
football.
you can give them a pass. I don't, because it's not like you was picking them eighth, ninth, or tenth. At the bottom of the first round, man, you go ahead and draft that man.
I
But
got
anyway, but anyway,
you.
that draft, Mitch Trubisky, number two. Number three, this was one of the 49ers mess ups. Solomon Thomas. They probably needed a defensive tackle. It doesn't matter if he can't play or not. Number five, Tennessee took Corey Davis, receiver.
I remember him.
There is nobody who can honestly say Corey Davis was the fifth best player in that draft. And I can prove it because a couple of picks later,
Uh huh.
Carolina took Christian McCaffrey, one of the positions that gets disrespected, running back. Number nine, the genius Cincinnati Bengals took John Ross. Remember the speedster?
Fast wide receiver. He speaks.
Mill. If you're going to if you're going to draft John
Woo,
Ross,
Ed, you on fire tonight, bro.
first of all, you take him in the fourth round. Hmm. And
Okay.
secondly, if you're going to draft somebody like him, make sure you have one of these creative Andy Reid type guys who can, Sean McVay, who can do something with him.
Mhm.
Because if you draft him number nine just because he's fast, then you might as well draft
He's
Usain Bolt.
yeah, yeah. You
Okay.
stupid. You stupid. Oh,
Number
you got
10.
more Eddie?
Number 10. We all
Uh-huh.
heard of who got picked 10th in that draft. Mahomes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Number 11. The Saints took excellent corner, Marshawn Lattimore. These are the guys that
In the
these
league
other
up to
teams
last year.
could have took.
Hmm.
Number 16. Oh, we took Marlon Humphrey. At at
Oh, that's
at
my dude. Oh, you ain't got to convince me. I'm all in my dude.
at,
Yeah,
at 16, he was the best player. The Ravens believed he was the best player left, whether we
right,
needed a corner or not.
right.
And you mentioned you beat me to this one. No, that's the draft. Number 30 was TJ Watt.
Oh,
Now
20. Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
one page. The other page is for Percy and Shard. Next
Okay.
next week.
I wanted to say what grinds my gears. I can't even say grinds my gears. Is when somebody in management on a position of authority, you're not you're too prideful to admit when
Mm-hmm.
you screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
They talked to the Bears general manager years after. Now Mahomes got how many rings?
Three.
12? I can't. Three? Okay. I'm joking. I'm exaggerating. You know what I mean. Seems like he always in it.
Yeah, I mean he's been to five.
Five. Okay. Three or five in 10 years. Wow, that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this is his 10th year. Three or
Mm-hmm.
five and nine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they interviewed the GM of the Bears, who's not there no more. Now, Mahomes at this point had already won one or two Super Bowls. I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
two.
Okay. All right.
And they interviewed him. Hey, you got Trubisky before Mahomes. Do you regret doing that? You know what he said? This rascal said out of his mouth, "No, Trubisky is what we needed. We like what he brought." I say that's the stupidity that
Mm-hmm.
I can't tolerate. At least
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jones, who I'm not even necessarily a fan of, but I ain't no cowboy. I
Right.
don't care.
Right.
Will be like,
Right.
"Oh man, I messed up on TJ." But
Mm-hmm.
you, after he's won two
Mm-hmm.
and win another one after this interview, a host of AFC championship games and playoff wins, and you still sticking saying
Yep.
Trubisky.
That's why
All
he's
you had to
unemployed.
do, all you had to do was say, "Well, Jerry Jones, I messed up on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really screwed that." People were having so much. You may be to get another job,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
you're sticking with the
Mm-hmm.
Trubisky pick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is I can't. That grinded my gears
Can't
for a
tolerate
few.
it. Mm.
Oh my
It's just like
god.
Mill. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a politician who insists on telling everybody, "Oh, everything's fine. Everything, yeah, everything's fine for you. You're rich." But have you
Right.
seen the news lately? Have you seen the price of
Right.
you know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I would feel a lot better if you came clean, or at least Cleveland is coming clean and saying, "Man, we took a big swing on Deshaun Watson and we missed." Don't keep lying, you know.
You know, somebody, I don't listen to Cleveland football, Cleveland media, but someone was like, he's probably going to start the season.
He's gonna start. Hey, they say he's looking good. He's
And what
working
are
out.
they doing?
Well,
Build the team around
yeah.
Dion's boy.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
what I would do. And
And
it's
really,
not because I'm a fan.
to be honest with you, Mill, Cleveland, um,
They're paying
they
him a lot of money.
the if you made me their general manager, the first thing I would do is, I mean, I've already blown a couple of opportunities, and now with this draft, another opportunity has been blown. Man, I gotta see what I can get for Miles Garrett. Hopefully I can still get 3 first rounders. I know I can get two,
Right.
but by the time Cleveland's team really gets good and ready to compete, he's going to be old. So why is he still on the team? I gotta look.
Mhm.
I think they got 2 first rounders next year. By the time I'm finished, I probably will have 4 first rounders next year.
They seem
I,
like they have two every year. Rashad was right.
Mill,
It's
they're
ridiculous.
too emotional. You know what the problem is? They do not want to see him win a Super Bowl with another organization, with the 49ers or somebody. I don't care. I know I'm not winning the Super Bowl next year. I need to get this roster. And you're right, they on the right track with that roster. But there's no use holding this man hostage for just because when he goes into the Hall of Fame, they want him to go in with a Cleveland Brown helmet. That's the kind of thing that they care about, Mill.
That I don't know about that. I mean, you're right. I agree with you. I just think it's stupid. It's not like the Steelers hold on to TJ
Mm-hmm.
because we got TJ some health issues,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
despite whether he thinks he needs it or not.
And y'all be making it to the play. Y'all haven't won playoff games, but y'all be making it
Right.
to the playoff. Y'all
Yeah.
be and he's got some. There's I've seen this in sports happen too many times. You know what? Certain cities, Cleveland, I'm kind of sensing the same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. Don't want to change gears, but they don't want to let
Hold on
Giannis
to that
go.
superstar.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we don't want to
Yeah.
see him win a championship with another. Who cares? You have if
Uh,
somebody's offering you a haul for this man, he's not going to win anymore with your franchise.
mhm. Right.
Let him let him
Milwaukee's
go.
bad. Yeah. And Giannis, get him, get something for him for his last several years, and then yeah.
You gonna wait till he's 38 years old and then say, "Well, we're ready to trade him now." You're not gonna get anything from
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you, man. Okay, that's a good. I love the list you got, Ed.
him.
Uh, on this hosting site, I'm able to do a few more things. I don't know if you heard the intro music.
Hmm.
Uh, I got some intro music. I'm able to do a title of podcast through Ravens and the Steeler. So we're gonna be able to doing a couple, getting a little fancy over here the next couple
Okay.
of
Is
months.
that the one that Skylar made?
No, this is off of our hosting site.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Yeah, they provided it.
Oh,
They
gotcha,
gave me some
gotcha.
upgrades, so I'm gonna go ahead and use them. I'm gonna use
Mhm.
what they gave us. But B grades for the Ravens and Steelers.
Mhm.
I like Surratt more than Jacoby Lane. Zion Young is a Raven.
Mhm.
Your first two picks are Ravens.
Mhm.
You know, I always focus on that. If you can get a guy that fits your personality, he's your
Mhm.
guy, and he's
Mhm.
marked to the fourth,
Mhm.
and you get him in the third, that's not that bad.
Mhm.
Steelers made two moves. The cornerback is too early.
Mhm.
I was really hard on the Drew Aller pick, but I've peeled back my focus.
Mhm. Mhm.
I understand it. Only because McCarthy's there and that's all.
Yeah, you had to do it.
I'm sticking it. I'm gonna go away. And I didn't. I don't want to be in a had to do it situation.
Mhm.
But Aller is a type of quarterback. It looks like to me that McCarthy can really do
Mhm.
something.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's my final thoughts
Mhm.
on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead parlay into the
Mhm.
Oreos.
All
So I'm
right.
gonna go ahead and start something.
Mhm.